Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Åre in the very north of Sweden, and this is a beer that I'm really looking forward to. This is yet another brewery who I have never tried anything from. So for this one we are going to go to Åre Bryggcompagni for the first time, and we're having a taste of their Nymph Saison. So as the name suggests, this one is a Saison beer coming in at 5.5%, and it's hopped with Nymph Saison from New Zealand and Citra and Mosaic from America. So definitely one of the more kind of interestingly hopped Saisons that I've come across over the last wee while. It's actually been a long time, as far as I can remember, since I've reviewed a Saison for you on the channel. So very much looking forward to this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. I always enjoy introducing you guys to these new little Swedish breweries that you might not have heard of. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Åre Bryggcompagni. Very first time I'm reviewing one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Åre Bryggcompagni then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, these guys are based in Åre in Jämtland county, which is very, very well known for its ski slopes actually. A very, very popular Swedish ski resort, and it's kind of located halfway between Östersund in Sweden and Trondheim over in Norway. It's kind of right in the middle of these two places, right on the edge of a lake with lots of nice mountains in the background, which of course, as I mentioned, are for skiing. But this company was founded back in 2012 by Anders Abrahamsson and Daniel Flink. These two had actually moved to Åre a number of years previously from Stockholm, and they were avid snowboarders, which actually took them up there to base themselves permanently in this town. But they were home brewers, and this hobby soon grew and eventually ended up with them basing their own brewery in the Husa Gamla Skola in the town. So they began renovating the building and securing the permits in the autumn of 2012, and then the first beer was officially launched in July of 2013, and they were working using a very, very small brewery of only 500 litres. But they moved to a new and larger brewery in Ängarna in Åre in the summer of 2017, and they can brew here 2,000 litres at a time, and they've been gradually working to kind of upscale their capacity a little bit over the last couple of years. But they retained their old brewery as well for pilot brews, and this is where they produce a lot of their kind of new beers, and I believe this one was a fairly recent addition to the range. If you go on the website, they do have a couple of different beers listed there which seem quite interesting actually. So if you do get the chance to try some of these, I highly recommend that you do. From what I understand, these beers are fairly widely available up in the kind of Stockholm region of Sweden, but you can order them through Systembolaget. They are nationally available through Systembolaget from what I understand. So if you want to try some of these, you can get these as long as you are in Sweden, of course. But yeah, another interesting wee company, this one. There wasn't too much information available on these guys, but if you want to learn a little bit more, do check out the brewery website, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that to keep up to date with all the things that are going on there. So yeah, that's enough of the brewery notes. Let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So as I mentioned to you, this one is a 5.5% Saison. The artwork on this is actually really quite interesting. It's almost like these kind of you used to see these sort of things on buses and stuff like that, you know, the little holes that you could see out of, but it was almost like a kind of dotted graphic sort of thing. It's a really interesting little bit of artwork there. There you can see on the symbol there, the Åre Bryggcompagni symbol, obviously the mountains kind of symbolising the ski resorts and snowboarding resorts, however you want to call that, and that is also on the bottle cap as well. Definitely need to keep this bottle cap because it is one of the more kind of unusual ones that I've come across recently. But yeah, best before the 5th of July 2018. And this one, as I mentioned to you earlier, is hopped with Nymph Saison, Citra and Mosaic. So yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. First time I've had a Saison in quite a little while. This maybe could even be the first Swedish brewed Saison that I have now that I think about it. But correct me on that if I'm wrong, and of course do give me some other Swedish Saison recommendations in the comment section below if you can think of any. That would be interesting, of course. There are a few breweries here in Sweden that do kind of dedicate themselves to brewing Belgian style beers. Of course, the Saison was the old kind of Belgian Dutch sort of farmhouse style ale. But yeah, nice looking beer this one, and let's have a little closer look at that. So as you can see, and as you would expect from a Saison, this one's poured quite a nice bright golden colour there. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see that to some degree it is quite hazy. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. As you could see when I poured this beer, there's a solid half finger or so of a frothy, I would say, pure white head on this one. Perfect white head. It's not even a little bit creamy. The head on this one is pretty much perfect white. But to be honest, overall, there's nothing particularly surprising about this one in terms in terms of it being a Saison. The appearance is pretty much what you would expect. Although some of the Saisons that you get can be quite a bit brighter than this. I have seen Saisons that are a lot kind of brighter in their yellow quality of this one. But yeah, definitely. Nothing particularly surprising about this one, considering that it is a Saison beer. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Ooh, now that smells pretty good actually. Now, as I've always mentioned in these videos, when it comes to Belgian style beer, you know, they are very yeast forward beers, and that's the first thing that you pick up with this beer straight away. So you've got a lovely big Belgian-y yeasty quality coming out of this one. You know, it's got a little bit of that kind of wheaty bready quality in there. There's a little touch of that almost banana clovey thing, but it's not too overpowering. But you've got a nice white bready base, a little touch of that banana kind of clovey spice sort of thing, and there's also, you know, a little bit of a kind of wheaty element to this one as well, which is very, very nice. So yeah, lovely nice bit of kind of wheaty quality to this one. Some of those kind of bready, some of those nice big white bready qualities coming out of it. The bananas and the sort of clovey spice start to come out of it a good bit later on as well, which is really, really nice. But yeah, it definitely has that lovely big Belgian-y, bready, yeasty base to it, which is lovely. I would say with this beer as well, it's got a nice little bit of an almost biscuity sweetness to it, which is really nice too. You can definitely smell there's a little bit of a sort of McVitie's digestive-y type quality to this one. So yeah, nice little bit of a floral kind of grassy aromaticity as well. That'll be from all these lovely American hops that are in this beer, and you can pick out some of these different fruits as well. There's an element of grassiness in there, but you can pick out the sort of white greeny grapes from the Nelson Sauvin. There's also a little bit of that tangerine orange from the Mosaic coming out here. And I want to say there's just a little touch of the mango in there too, but it's the grassiness and the Nelson Sauvin that are really, I think, coming out most in this one for me. The greeny white, the sort of green-white grapes of that New Zealand hop in there are coming out beautifully in this one. It does smell very, very fresh and inviting, so as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But let's have a taste of this one then. So this one is the Nymph Saison from the Åre Bryggcompagni in Åre up in Jämtland County here in Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah, I have to say, that really is quite nice. In comparison to the Belgian Saisons, you know, it's not quite as thick in its mouthfeel. I mean, this is one of these things, when you think of where this brewery is, it's away up in the mountains. You know, they're going to have very, very pure water sources up there, and you can taste that in the water that is in this beer. It feels very, very clean. There's a, you know, it does just taste like almost kind of mountain spring water, if you like. You know, I'm a big believer in that. Some people don't think that water can have a huge effect on the flavour of beer, but you know, I would wholly disagree with them, and that's, you know, it's probably one of the things with being Scottish. You are used to having water of a very, very good quality, and you know, people that live away up in the north of Sweden would be used to that as well, I'm sure. Particularly the counties like Dalarna and Jämtland and things like this. But this is, you know, you can feel just how kind of clean and refreshing a beer this one is. That, you know, even though it's a Saison, which is a kind of, it should be a beer that's got a very thick mouthfeel, and it's a kind of sipper for me usually. I would never ever go and kind of session a Saison, if you like. But this one, it really just has that clean and crisp mouthfeel to it, which is really nice actually. A good sort of summer sipper beer, this one, I would say. But yeah, I'll give a thumbs up to these guys in this. They've done a they've certainly done a nice job with this. They've created quite a sessionable saison beer. I can't remember if 5.5% is like a normal percentage for saisons. I thought most saisons were kind of around 6.5, something like that. So do correct me on that in the comment section below if I am wrong. But the Belgian saison beers of course are quite yeast forward, and therefore they always tend to be a little bit stronger. But this is a really quite nice beer. So let's try and break down the kind of malt base on this one first off. Then of course the yeasty qualities will be playing in there as well. So first off, you can feel a nice little bit of a pale malty quality that just blankets the middle of your palate. On top of that, you start to get some of these nice big doughy, bready, yeasty qualities in there. You can feel there is a little element of that banana kind of clovey sort of flavour that you would expect of these sort of Belgian beers. It's definitely got that Belgian yeasty quality to it, I have to say. Yeah, it's really nice how this goes together actually. Very, very smooth, and I'm finding the further into the flavour that you go, more in the very centre of your palate you can pick out a little bit of that biscuity quality. You know, I was talking about McVitie's digestives. As I always say, I'm not sure how good a descriptor that is for Swedes. I'm pretty sure I've seen McVitie's digestives here. I never really buy biscuits that much, but the biscuity flavour that's in the very centre of your palate here really reminds me of that almost corny syrup type thing, that corny syrup type flavour that you get from McVitie's digestives. It really has a little bit of that in the middle of your palate. There's maybe a little touch of a slightly sweeter caramel in there. But yeah, I like how everything is kind of going together in the malt base. This one, you can feel the smoothness of the malt in there, but the yeasty kind of qualities of this are really kind of just sitting on top of that and building the flavour up. It's got a good little bit of complexity to it, the malt base in this one. There's maybe even a little bit of a slightly woody flavour just as you come further forward on the palate, and the further into the aftertaste you go, I think that comes out a little bit more. The sort of doughy yeasty qualities of this beer also start to push their way out a little bit more the further you go into the aftertaste with the beer. But you know, overall, the malt base in this one and the sort of yeasty qualities that are in, pardon me, kind of infusing themselves into that, really do go together quite well. I mean, it's quite different in feel from a properly Belgian saison, if you like, but it's a nice crisp example of the style. So if you get the chance to try this, you know, if you enjoy the style, have a go at it, because I think you will be kind of pleasantly surprised with this one. But yeah, and as I say, I think the more and more you drink of this beer, the more your palate your palate kind of starts to focus on the sweeter aspects of the flavour. So just bear that in mind with this beer. But it certainly works for it. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you can detect a tiny little bit of earthiness there. For me, that'll be from the Mosaic. The Mosaic always gives you just this little subtle earthiness in the back corners of your palate, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, that just smooths out a little bit, and you can feel just some of these nice, almost slightly spicy floral aromatic notes just pushing their way out the further forward you come along the sides of the palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, you've got a nice little bit of a lighter kind of grassy quality coming out of this one. And behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that nice little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And you know, there is a good bit going on with this one, with all those hops that are in there. So you can definitely pick out first off some of those white or green, those light grapey esters that you would get from the Nelson Sauvin. That's really infusing in quite a little bit around the front curve of the palate there, where the grassy esters are coming out. Good little bit of a kind of mango-y citrus to this one, and that'll be from the Citra, of course, in there. And the further forward you come, just behind the front curve of the palate, you start to get more of these juicy tangerine oranges, which will be from the Mosaic, of course. You know, the Mosaic can give you a little bit of complexity. There is a little tiny hint of an almost blueberry flavour just on the very, very front tip of the tongue there, and that's the Mosaic coming out. And there's maybe a little bit of kind of lychee or gooseberry or something like that in there as well, which will be the Citra. It's probably more of a gooseberry flavour, if you like, but the gooseberry and the white grapey, gooseberry that you'll get from the Citra and the sort of white green grapey flavours that you'll get from the you know, from the Nelson Sauvin, they will play into each other a little bit. It's almost like a kind of antagonistic relationship, if you like, but definitely a little touch of lychee in there, some gooseberries, some blueberries as well. A lot of kind of complexities, fruit complexities in this one as you go further into the aftertaste, I think. But the mainstays of the fruity side of things are this sort of white, greeny grapes. There's a little bit of a mango in there, and also some nice kind of juicy tangerine oranges too. But overall, very, very nice beer, this one, and I like how all these flavours go together. It's definitely a nice sort of crisp, almost a summer kind of sipper, if you like, this beer. It's got a nice little bit of crispness to it, and the mineral water really helps just give this beer that extra little bit of freshness. So I'll give a thumbs up once again to Åre Bryggcompagni for this beer. They've done a nice job of this, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. This is definitely more of a sessioner for me, but as I always tell you guys, I don't really drink beer that much outside of the reviews that I do. When I go to a restaurant or whatever, you know, I do tend to go for Diet Coke and things like that, just because I'm reviewing quite a lot of beer for you here on the channel. But yeah, I certainly could session a couple of these, that's definitely fair to say. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say this one's at the bottom end of mid-bodied. Carbonation does have a good little bit of crispness to it, this one, which, you know, to be honest, is what you would expect from a Belgian style beer. You would expect it to have a little bit more of that kind of crisp character to it. Nice bit of wetness to the mouthfeel as well, but it's also got a little touch of an oily quality as well, and good bit of crispness in there too. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness. I would guess that this one's somewhere around maybe the 40 or maybe even pushing the 50 IBU mark actually. Let's just have a look at that. Yeah, I would go around the kind of 40-ish IBU mark for this one for me. I think it's somewhere in that kind of region. But the malt base, as I said, has a good balance between the smoothness. There's a little touch of the sweetness in there, as I was saying, and the esters. The esters from the yeast in this one are playing a big role in there too, and you've got some nice juicy fruity qualities to this beer as well. But overall, very, very nicely done, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. So let's just leave it at that. This is just a really nice example of the Saison style, and to me it comes across as one that you definitely want to kind of sit and sip on in the summer. It's got a lovely little bit of crispness to it, so just have a go at it for yourself and see what you think. And I don't think there's too many Swedish brewed versions of this style as well, so that's another thing that makes this beer just that little bit unique. But yeah, an interesting beer, this one, the Nymph Saison from Åre Bryggcompagni in Åre up in Jämtland county here in Sweden. A really interesting one, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Åre Bryggcompagni as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys at some point in the fairly near future. It's been a very cool, very interesting first review that I've done from them today, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And as I say, check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys very soon. The Nymph Saison from Åre Bryggcompagni in Åre in Jämtland county here in Sweden. Until the next time, Slanja just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slanja, skål.